There are crimes that feel chaotic, loud, reckless, and then there are crimes that feel calculated, quiet, deliberate, almost surgical, the kind that don't make sense at first, and honestly don't make sense even after the truth comes out. Imagine a normal family home. Lights on, cars in the driveway, packages sitting untouched on the porch. From the outside, nothing looks wrong, but inside that house, time has already stopped. What if the person who pulled the trigger wasn't acting out of rage, but out of fear? What if the real weapon wasn't the gun, but the story someone whispered into another person's mind, day after day for years? This case isn't just about a mass killing in a quiet neighborhood. It's about manipulation so precise it turned love into paranoia, trust into obedience, and jealousy into something far more dangerous than hatred. Because when investigators finally peeled back the layers, they didn't uncover a criminal gang hiding in the shadows. They uncovered something far more unsettling, a crime engineered through messages, commands delivered through screens, and a man who believed he was saving the person he loved by destroying an entire family. And once you understand how it happened, you'll never look at digital control or emotional manipulation the same way again. The call comes in quietly, no screaming, no frantic background noise, just a worried mother doing what worried parents do when silence stretches too long. By Sunday evening, September 17th, 2023, that silence has become unbearable. Her daughter isn't answering, neither is her son-in-law. The grandkids, normally glued to their devices, have gone dark too. Something feels wrong. Around 9 p.m., a patrol unit turns onto Concord Avenue in Romeoville, Illinois, roughly 30 miles southwest of Chicago. It's a calm neighborhood. Manicured lawns, porch lights glowing, the kind of street where nothing ever makes the news. The officers stop in front of house number 500. From the outside, the scene doesn't scream emergency. 2 cars sit neatly in the driveway. Lights glow softly through the windows. But the porch tells a different story. Packages, more than one, sit unopened, untouched, as if time paused mid-delivery. The officers knock, loudly again and again. No movement, no voices, no dogs barking. As they circle the house, one officer peers through a window. That single detail changes everything, enough to justify forcing entry. The front door is breached. The house is unnervingly quiet, not the peaceful kind of quiet, but the heavy, unnatural kind. Flashlight beams cut through the darkness, sweeping across walls and furniture. In the very first room, the officers stop cold. 3 German shepherds lie motionless on the floor. All 3 have been shot. The realization hits instantly. This isn't a burglary gone wrong. This is something else entirely. Moving deeper into the home, down the hallway toward the bedrooms, the officers find the adults first. 32-year-old Zorida Barole and her husband, 38-year-old Barole and her husband, 38-year-old Barole, gunshot wounds. No signs of life. In the adjacent room, their 2 sons, just 7 and 10 years old, lie still in their beds. When paramedics arrive, there's nothing to be done. Every member of the household is pronounced dead at the scene. House number 500 is no longer a home. It's a crime scene, one of the most disturbing Romeoville has ever seen. Forensic teams flood the residence, documenting every inch. And what they find only deepens the mystery. Aside from the overturned table, the house doesn't look ransacked. Electronics are still plugged in, jewelry untouched, valuables left exactly where they should be. This wasn't about money. Ballistics becomes the focus. More than 20 bullets are recovered from walls, furniture, and bodies. What stands out immediately is the grouping: tight, controlled, deliberate. Whoever did this wasn't firing wildly. They knew how to handle a gun. In the kitchen, investigators note something else strange. 2 window screens have been carefully cut. Not torn, not smashed, neatly sliced. Yet the window frames themselves are undamaged. Meanwhile, the back door, fully intact, is unlocked. It doesn't add up. Why stage a break-in when entry was already possible? Spray paint markings appear on several walls, chaotic lines, random symbols. At first glance, it looks like the work of vandals, maybe teens trying to imitate gang tags, but the rest of the scene doesn't match that theory at all. No struggle in the bedrooms, no signs the victims were chased or fought back. The positioning of the bodies tells its own story. The 2 boys appear never to have woken up. In the master bedroom, bullet trajectories show shots fired through a closed door. Alberto Rolon's body is found in the hallway leading to his son's room, suggesting he tried to intercept whoever came through the house. He didn't make it far. The dogs were killed first, likely to eliminate noise. To remove resistance, this wasn't random. This was planned. As the night stretches into morning, investigators begin asking the most important question: why? Zorida Barole worked at Avanti Engineering in Glendale Heights, a large facility specializing in CNC machined parts. Co-workers describe her as friendly, dependable, social, a normal working professional. Alberto Rolon, according to family, was devoted to his job and his kids. No debts, no criminal history, no known enemies. Their social media tells the same story. Family trips, holidays, smiling kids, no drama, no red flags, no public conflicts. Neighbors on Concord Avenue report nothing unusual. No arguments, no screams, no suspicious activity Friday night or Saturday morning. No one heard gunshots. The family lived a stable middle-class life, the kind people assume is safe. But investigators know better than to stop at appearances. Financial records are clean. No strange transactions, no gambling debts, no ties to organized crime. If there's a motive here, it isn't financial. So detectives turn inward toward personal relationships. Records show she'd narrowed her social circle in recent months, spending more time at work than usual. Not alarming on its own, but worth examining. By Monday morning, September 18th, the investigation moves into the digital realm. Ring doorbell footage is collected from the entire block. Automated license plate readers at the entrances to Romeoville are queried. Analysts begin scrubbing through hundreds of hours of footage, tracking every vehicle that passed near House 500 during the critical hours. That's when a light-colored sedan appears. It shows up twice around 3 o'clock a.m. At 3:17, the vehicle is caught on a nearby camera, headlights cutting off as it slips into the shadows near Concord Avenue. Roughly 30 minutes later, it reappears, this time speeding out of town. Even more unsettling, the registered owner works at Avanti Engineering. Cell tower data confirms it. A phone moves in perfect sync with the vehicle, placing its owner in the immediate vicinity of the crime scene at the exact time of the murders. The name attached to both, Nathaniel Huey Jr., 31 years old. Suddenly, the case has direction. Detectives arrive at Avanti Engineering later that day. Nathaniel agrees to speak with them voluntarily. He appears calm, polite, soft-spoken, almost overly composed, but cracks show quickly. When asked about Zorida, he fidgets. His fingers twist together. A strange, inappropriate smile flickers across his face before disappearing. When questioned about his whereabouts late Friday night, he claims he was home, alone, except for his domestic partner. Then he admits something unexpected. He and Zorida were having an affair. It began in May 2023. They communicated through Snapchat and Instagram to avoid leaving records. They met at hotels after work. He insists the relationship was consensual, peaceful, no threats, no drama. His partner, he says, knew nothing. Detectives ask him to hand over his phone to verify his claims. That's when everything changes. Nathaniel refuses. He says there are personal items he wants to delete first. Promises he'll come to the station later, after he gets things in order. Investigators know what that means, but at that moment, they don't have enough to arrest him. So they watch him. Quietly, while surveillance begins, detectives shift focus to the woman he lives with, 50-year-old Hermolinda Palomo, his partner of more than 10 years. They share a small cottage in Streamwood. On paper, she looks ordinary, no criminal record, stable life, no obvious red flags. When questioned, Hermolinda provides a clean, confident alibi. She says Nathaniel was home with her all night on September 16th, drinking. Never left. She claims she doesn't know Zorida, only that she once saw the name in his phone and suspected infidelity. But technology doesn't lie. License plate readers already show Nathaniel's car heading toward Romeoville. GPS data confirms it. Cell towers contradict everything Hermolinda says. Her alibi collapses instantly, and with it, her role in the case quietly shifts from supportive partner to something far more concerning. What investigators don't yet know is that they're standing at the edge of something far darker than a jealous lover or a workplace affair. Because the truth behind what happened inside house number 500 wasn't driven by anger alone. It was driven by a story, carefully crafted, digitally delivered, and believed without question. And the person who wrote that story is much closer than anyone ever imagined. By the time investigators secured emergency warrants for Nathaniel Huey Jr.'s electronic devices, The case had already crossed a line most homicide investigations never do. What began as a brutal family murder was quietly transforming into something psychological, something engineered. Nathaniel was kept under covert surveillance while cybercrime specialists went to work. They knew time mattered. Digital evidence doesn't just disappear on its own, it's erased, and Nathaniel had already tried. When his phone data was finally extracted, investigators immediately saw why he'd been so resistant. Despite multiple deletion attempts, forensic recovery tools pulled archived Snapchat and Instagram conversations from cloud backups and residual storage. The affair with Zorida Barole wasn't speculative, it was documented, frequent, and emotionally charged. Their relationship had been ongoing since May 2020. 3 hotel meetups, late-night messages, plans disguised as work-related conversations. Nathaniel lived a double life, carefully hiding trips and digital trails from the woman he shared a home with. But something else stood out. In the weeks leading up to September, the tone of Nathaniel's messages shifted. The flirtation faded. Anxiety crept in, references to danger, warnings about being careful, vague mentions of people watching and things getting serious. Zorida's replies didn't match the paranoia. She brushed it off, redirected the conversation, talked about work, about the kids, about life, about the kids, about life. She didn't seem afraid. Nathaniel did. That fear intensified when investigators analyzed his broader digital footprint. Beyond his conversations with Zorida, they found something deeply unsettling. Nathaniel belonged to multiple private online groups, invite-only spaces focused on surveillance, countermeasures, and avoiding law enforcement detection. These weren't casual forums. The language was technical, procedural, structured. Even more alarming was what detectives found hidden deeper inside his device. A blocked contact. No name, no photo, no obvious identifiers. Yet this anonymous account showed the highest volume of communication in the days leading up to the murders. Every message from it had been deleted manually, suggesting urgency, secrecy, and fear of discovery. Cyber investigators flagged it immediately. Whoever this was, they mattered. Tracing the account wasn't easy. The messages were routed through masked IP addresses, VPNs, and burner-style profiles. But digital trails always leave residue. When specialists finally mapped the access points, the results stunned everyone involved. The IP addresses didn't lead overseas. They didn't lead to organized crime hubs. They didn't lead anywhere exotic at all. They led back to Streamwood, to Nathaniel's own home. Further analysis narrowed it down even more. The devices sending these messages weren't just in the same town, they were connected to the same Wi-Fi network, the same physical space, the same rooms. Serial numbers confirmed. The anonymous account belonged to Hermolinda Palomo. What investigators uncovered next redefined the entire case. For nearly 2 years, Hermolinda had been running an elaborate psychological manipulation operation against her own partner. Dozens of fake profiles, fabricated criminal hierarchies, staged photographs of weapons and cash, carefully constructed slang, voice-altering software to simulate different people speaking. She didn't just pretend to be one person. She pretended to be an entire criminal syndicate. Nathaniel believed he was in contact with powerful figures, that he was being monitored, that mistakes would cost lives, his own or those he loved. Hermolinda controlled the narrative completely, feeding him threats, deadlines, and missions, while presenting herself in real life as the only safe, innocent constant. Investigators described it as long-term psychological captivity. And then Zorida entered the picture. When Hermolinda discovered the affair, she didn't confront Nathaniel. She didn't expose him. She didn't leave. She adapted the lie. Recovered messages from September revealed a chilling shift. The fake syndicate turned on Zorida, branding her a traitor, a federal informant planted to destroy Nathaniel. Her family, he was told, weren't collateral. They were witnesses. The order was simple. Eliminate Zorida. Eliminate anyone who could identify you. Leave no survivors. The instructions were clinical, not emotional. Gloves, mask, cut window screens to stage a break-in. Leave the back door unlocked. Spray paint to suggest vandalism. Kill the dogs first. Nathaniel obeyed every detail, not out of hatred, but fear. He believed he was protecting the woman he loved. Data later reconstructed the night precisely. At 3:17 a.m., his car reached Concord Avenue. This wasn't panic, it was executions inside. The dogs were first. Ballistics showed close-range shots designed to neutralize them immediately. The sound, however, was enough to wake Alberto Rolon. He stepped into the hallway, directly into the path of the shooter. Alberto was struck, and attempted to retreat. He didn't make it. Shots were fired through the bedroom door. Blind fire. Indiscriminate. Once resistance was gone, Nathaniel entered and fired the final rounds at Zorida and her sons. More than 20 shots in total. Afterward, he staged the scene. Spray paint across the walls. Random symbols, chaotic lines meant to confuse investigators, to point toward gangs, toward vandalism, toward anything but the truth. By 3:50 a.m., he was back in the car. Hermolinda confirmed each step in real time. By sunrise, they were home in Streamwood, 2 people drinking coffee, blending back into normal life, while an entire family lay undiscovered for nearly 36 hours. On September 19th, detectives returned to the Streamwood home with stronger warrants. Electronics were seized. Interviews resumed. That night, Nathaniel and Hermolinda disappeared. Her family reported her kidnapped, claiming she was in danger. But traffic cameras told a different story. Cell towers traced their route southwest along I-44. No signs of coercion, no distress signals. They were fleeing together. By September 20th, they reached Catoosa, Oklahoma, over 550 miles from the crime scene. Surveillance cameras at a local Walmart captured them shopping calmly, talking, choosing groceries. Hermolinda moved freely, never once seeking help. The kidnapping story collapsed. When patrol officers identified their vehicle in the parking lot, everything unraveled. Nathaniel fled. A high-speed pursuit followed, lasting 10 minutes. It ended when the sedan crashed into a concrete barrier and burst into flames. Before officers could approach, 2 gunshots echoed from inside the burning car. Medical examiners later confirmed it. Nathaniel killed Hermolinda, then himself. The handgun recovered from the wreckage was a perfect ballistic match to the murders on Concord Avenue. Back in Illinois, cyber forensic teams finished piecing together the digital architecture of deception. Drafts of every order Nathaniel received were found in Hermolinda's cloud storage. Instructions for staging the break-in, for using spray paint, for manipulating fear. Nothing was spontaneous. Everything was scripted. On September 22, 2023, the case was officially closed. Nathaniel Huey Jr. was named the sole physical perpetrator. Hermolinda Palomo, the architect, house number 500 remains empty. And the case stands as a chilling reminder that sometimes the most dangerous crimes don't begin with violence at all. They begin with control. What makes this case linger isn't just the brutality, it's the mechanism behind it. There was no criminal syndicate, no hidden cartel, no powerful organization pulling strings from the shadows. The entire world Nathaniel Huey Jr. believed in existed only inside the devices of the woman he trusted most. For nearly 2 years, Hermolinda Palomo constructed a reality piece by piece. Fake identities, fabricated hierarchies, manufactured threats. She didn't rush it, she didn't slip. Every message was calculated to tighten control, to deepen fear, to make Nathaniel dependent on the very voice that was manipulating him. By the time Zorida entered his life, Nathaniel was already conditioned to obey. That's what makes this crime different. Nathaniel didn't choose violence on impulse. He followed orders, believing obedience was the only way to protect the woman he loved. Fear controlled him. Lies shaped his reality. Hermolinda never fired a shot, but she selected the target, designed the plan, and controlled the story that turned manipulation into murder. The Alberto Rolon family never knew they were in danger. Zorida never realized that a private affair had been twisted into a death sentence. Alberto never had time to protect his children. The boys never woke up. All of it, every moment, was preventable. And yet, once the manipulation reached a certain depth, it became inevitable. In the end, Hermolinda's control didn't stop with the family on Concord Avenue. It consumed Nathaniel too. When the illusion collapsed and law enforcement closed in, there was no syndicate left to hide behind, no enemies chasing them. Just the truth, and the consequences. Nathaniel killed the woman who created the lie. Then he ended his own life. The case was closed on paper. But the questions it raises are far from settled. How much control can one person exert over another without physical force? At what point does manipulation become coercion? And how many crimes are shaped not by rage, but by fear carefully planted over time? Because this wasn't a crime of passion. It was a crime of persuasion. And that's what makes it terrifying. If this story made you pause, if it made you rethink how power, trust, and digital manipulation really work, take a moment to like the video and subscribe for more deep dives into the cases that don't fit simple explanations. Share this story with someone who believes manipulation always looks obvious, because sometimes it looks like love. And here's the question I want you to answer in the comments. Do you believe Nathaniel was fully responsible for what he did, or was he a victim too? Let me know what you think.